Let me tell you a brief story about Elvis.
About Elvis.
I would like you to react to it. May I remove my boots?
Do you need help?
No, I can do it, but I just noticed that you were wearing your socks and you look really comfortable and...
Well, your boots are looking good, though.
No, thank you. It's just...
I can wear one.
No. You look fine in your socks.
Okay.
I just felt a little bit like David Frost with my boots. It's much better. So, legend, fact, history, anecdote, who knows? But I read it in the book.
Mm-hmm. Which book? The Priscilla Presley book?
No, it was not in Priscilla.
I read Priscilla's book.
Her autobiography. It was a very well-written book. She's an old friend of mine, by the way. I've known her half my lifetime. And she's a classy lady.
She was pretty honest.
Yeah. She is a very honest person. I have great affection for her. It was in one of the books written by one of his associates, one of the guys who always traveled around with him. And this was the simple tale. Elvis had been recording an album at RCA Studios in Hollywood, where we are at the moment, in the corner of Sunset and Vine. He had been in the studio for 3 or 4 hours. I don't know what the album was. I don't know what the song was. It was at the midway point in his career. And around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, he just said, let's wrap the session. And they walked out, and they were waiting for the car to come to pick them up in the garage, the underground garage. And the associate who was standing next to Elvis tells the story that he was getting a little impatient because it was taking time for the car to arrive. And he said to him, I'm so tired. And his assistant said, boss, we only were recording for 2 or 3 hours tonight. It's 11 o'clock. And he said, no. I'm so tired of being Elvis Presley.
Mm.
The car came and they took off. That's the anecdote. Do you ever feel tired of being
Elvis
Sean
Presley.
Ono Lennon?
I'm getting tired of being Elvis. No, not yet. I mean, I don't think being Sean Lennon is quintessential enough to be something one could get tired of. It's still kind of exciting to be me. I have so much work yet to do, in my life, so I kind of feel like life is too short at this time. But, who knows? Maybe in 20 years I'll feel like it's getting boring, but...
More specifically, the point of the analogy is the relationship between being a Presley and being a Lennon.
I see what you mean. Am I ever tired of the baggage that comes along with being a Lennon? Yeah. I think at times I do get tired of it. I think the time that I was most tired of it was when I was 21 and I put out my first album, Into the Sun. And that was just so shocking for me because I'd never dealt with the repercussions of being a Lennon as harshly as I did at that time when I put out my record, because I wasn't prepared for the kind of feeding frenzy that would happen with the press, and then I was also not unprepared for the kind of reaction and criticism I would get just for being me, So that was the time when it was most exhausting. And, the times that I feel the most tired of the shtick, being a Beatle son, is when I'm doing press for records. But when I'm not doing press, when I'm in between, press junkets, I actually never really encountered the downside of it, because there's nothing really in my life that reminds me of how superficial people's view of me can really be when I'm just being a musician or living at home or doing my work. It's only when I go out there and I do 27 interviews in a day or something, and every interview asks me, you know, what's your favorite Beatles song? What's your first memory of your dad? Why are you playing music? Your dad was so famous. Do you ever feel like you shouldn't play music? Do you ever feel like you should play music? You know, is your girlfriend Yoko Ono incarnate? You know, those kinds of questions get really exhausting. And it's at that time that I start to feel like, you know, giving up and becoming a llama farmer in Tibet or something.
That's your Elvis moment.
That's the time when it feels almost impossible to be me. And when I say me, I mean, you know, trying to be a musician. Because my brother recently, he had a very successful photography opening in New York. And he was telling me how great it was to be a photographer because there was no stigma attached to photography as a Lennon, you know. And I really relate to that because sometimes I just feel like, you know, it's impossible to surmount this obstacle of being a Lennon kid in music. But the problem is I don't really have a choice about it because music is not really something that I chose to do. It was kind of like a natural ability that I had. So I never really thought about whether I should do it or not until it was too late, you know? So it's not something I'm going to give up, but at times it feels like an impossible task.